Good afternoon. I'm here at Embedded World 2023, and I'm delighted today to be joined once again by Brian Carlson, who is the Director for Global Product and Solutions Marketing at NXP Semiconductors. So thank you very much for joining me again.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Great. Look forward to talking to you.
Fantastic. So today we are going to be talking about the new S32G3 and its role in automotive safety and software-defined vehicles. But before we get into that, could you just introduce yourself briefly for us?
Sure, yes. So I am with NXP Semiconductors in what we call the automotive processing business. And if you don't know, NXP is actually the leader in automotive processors. My background is pretty varied, coming from telecommunications, the wireless mobile phone space, laptops, PCs, and now automotive. And I've been in NXP about 7 years. And it's a great time to be in automotive because there's so much happening. It's all happening at once. And I'm leveraging a lot of the background from all these other markets because all the technology is converging in automotive. And so, my background's everything from design and engineering all the way through what I'm doing now is kind of leading global marketing. But I've done design, technology, marketing, strategy, etc. So I've kind of seen a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Lots of experience.
Yeah, unfortunately I'm old now. So.
Don't say that. Tell us a little bit about NXP as well.
Yeah, so NXP, I think we're about a 33,000 employees, somewhere around there. I mean, NXP, if people don't know the history, it's really interesting because it goes all the way back to Philips on one side and Motorola. And everyone, I think, knows Philips and Motorola, they're brand names. And, Motorola became Freescale and the Philips became NXP, and at the end of 2015 they came together, and it's really great. It's been a great combination because Freescale is very powerful, was in processors going way back to Power PCs and Power Quicks and all that. So we have a lot of networking background, and then NXP coming in together had a lot of security and connectivity. So they're really complementary. So now you'll see some of our platforms, reference designs. It really combines the best of both companies. So we bring security, enterprise networking, automotive processing, automotive safety, and it resulted in us becoming the #1 automotive processor provider. So so I'm focused on that. We have a whole other side of the business. Well, there's actually others, but the other side is the embedded, secure embedded compute type of things, IoT, industrial IoT, and then we do mobility and also the infrastructure for mobility and things like that. So we do quite a lot of things. We're diverse, but about 50% of our business is automotive, so it's really important to NXP.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of that, I understand you've recently launched an extension of the S32G family,
yes.
The S32G3. So tell us about it. What's new?
Yes. So on Tuesday, actually at the show, we announced that we've launched this into production. So it is available. And actually, I just want to show this relative size. It's a little chip, but it's quite powerful. I mean, it's the size of my thumbnail, basically.
Yeah.
This chip is an extension of our S32G family. We have the G2 series that we launched into production in May of 2021. It's been lots of vehicles. A lot of customers using it. A public one I can talk about is Ford. So Ford Motors. So all these Mach-E's, they're Ford F-150s. These devices have S32G2. So it's been in production for a couple of years almost. So we've extended it with the S32G3. And it's not replacing G2, it's extending it. So it's really raising the bar up to 2.6x the performance, 2.5 times the memory. It really is allowing our customers to scale. And that's the key thing I forgot to mention is that these are footprint compatible and software compatible.
Okay.
So you can have a customer that designs a product with G2 and can extend all the way up through the G3 series, or they may just go into G3 and they say, that's all I need. So definitely it's an exciting product for us because it's a very popular product, and we are able now to extend the performance into new applications.
So what would you say are some of its main features?
Yeah, so from a top level features, I mean, what's fairly unique about it, if you look at the automotive processor market, everyone's kind of familiar with microcontrollers, the smaller MCUs that do some of the discrete functions in the vehicle. And at the higher end, you have ADAS, infotainment, and high-end processing. This is more towards that application processing, but it brings in the microcontroller technology too. So it sits in the middle, but it has a range that spans across it. It slides up and down there. And that's what's unique about it, is that from a processor. But the other key part about this, we call these vehicle network processors. And why we call that is because it has a lot of networking interfaces, 20 CAN-FD interfaces, 4 gigabit Ethernet. Actually, 3 of those are 2.5 gigabits per second. And we have network acceleration. This is technology that allows us to totally offload CAN traffic, Ethernet traffic, and to do firewalls and moving data from CAN to Ethernet, Ethernet to CAN, and do that autonomously. So you don't have to have all these processors wasting time moving data, observing packets. We can do intrusion detection, all this totally automated in hardware.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned, this has 30 processor cores in it, 21 ARM cores. So it has quite a lot of processing capability, which gives our customers a lot of flexibility. And it has scalability within some of the hardware accelerators that have processors also. That gives us flexibility to support future needs.
Yeah.
So it's quite a powerhouse of bringing that. And one thing I forgot to mention, it's built on a foundation of functional safety, ASIL-D functional safety, and it has an embedded security engine, hardware security engine that is firewalled off from the rest of the chip, which is the root of trust. It has its own memory, and it's the root of trust that allows us to boot this securely and authenticate any software that comes onto the device to maintain end-to-end security.
Yeah.
So that's really important, of course, in any device, but especially in automotive.
Excellent, a great introduction. And let's focus on the automotive industry a little bit more now. You know, what trends are you seeing in this market, and how does the S32G3 fit in with that? Okay,
that's a good question. This is like a really exciting time in automotive, as I think I referred to earlier, mainly because there's so much going on and it's massive change. This isn't incremental change, it's massive changes. And so we developed a strategy back in 2017, announced this S32 platform, and S32 is an automotive platform that scales. I talked about scalability within this, but we have scalability across the vehicle from microcontrollers all the way up to these types of processors and zonal architectures we'll talk about maybe later. So I think what's going on are the three mega trends everyone's been talking about for several years actually, but we see electrification, of course, is the big one. And the last year we've introduced some new products like the S32Z and E in the family and the S32 K39. The first ones are the brains of the electric vehicle. The second one was the brains of the electric vehicle motor, controlling the motor control. And this one is actually the brains of the vehicle overall and all the functions across the vehicle. So that's the first thing, electrification. The second thing is this software-defined vehicles, where vehicles are be defined now by software instead of discrete boxes. Instead of having a box with a microcontroller running one ECU, like lifting the windows or doing the heating or driving the motor, we see now these functions are consolidated into bigger multi-core processors like the S32G3 and our other S32Z and E. So that's the other big one that's going on. ADAS, of course, becoming L2, L2.5, L2.5, L3, etc. This chip actually ties in that on the safety side because you need very high performance safety. Much like an aircraft, we're in 787s and other aircraft today, which have redundancy. If one goes down, you still have two more. It's that redundancy, and this does that to safety. So a lot going on, electrification, also connected vehicles, software-defined vehicles, and more autonomy in vehicles. All that's happening at the same time. So I like to say it's like brain surgery. We're replacing the brains while we're replacing the heart, right? And even more, right? You're going through some major surgeries all at the same time. So it's major challenges for the whole industry.
Definitely.
An opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And let's focus on the software-defined vehicles a little bit more. How does this product fit in with that? Yeah, great question, because SDV is the future. We see every OEM's on a different schedule and a different approach, but software-defined vehicles are about, like I said, doing ECUs virtually in software. So what you need are new types of processors that can support that. And you need the silicon to look not just like a processor, but you need it to look like multiple ECUs effectively. And they have to be isolated and they can't interfere with each other. And there's IP concerns because if I have one tier one that's running software and another partner running software, you don't want them to interfere with each other or have access to the IP of their competitor or whatever. So it's interesting because it impacts the silicon. So we have to have very tight isolation in hardware, which is new technology. We can go virtualized hardware all the way from the core through the processor, the peripherals, and lock it like from a software point of view. It looks like another box or processor. So where it fits in is in the vehicle computer. So that's the main computer that has to run lots of functions. It's integrating a lot of capabilities that were once hardware boxes. And we see lots of processing in there. So that's why we upgraded the G2 to the G3 to be able to give that level of processing. So the first thing is vehicle computer. One other thing that's interesting is because of the level of processing that this offers, and it's ASIL-D, even the application cores can support ASIL-D safety applications, which is fairly unique in the industry, I believe.
it lends itself with its high-speed Ethernet networking and its PCI Express interfaces to be able to work in collaboration with these big brains that are out there doing the perception and the autonomous drive systems. So many of the autonomous drive systems out there being developed have this part also now as a safety processor. Just a standalone, it's doing redundancy, it's doing safety checking, and it's actuating the vehicle. So two main applications to summarize it up: that vehicle computer that's running everything in the software-defined vehicle, and the safety processor that's running in the ADAS or autonomous drive system.
Yeah. And obviously you've mentioned safety quite a few times. It's obviously a massive topic in automotive. So tell us in a little more detail how this product addresses automotive safety. Yeah,
so safety is fundamental. Security and safety is that foundation I talked about, and especially safety. And NXP has decades of experience doing functional safety, and it's all reflected in here. And actually, this introduces new technology that's called fail operational. So you can imagine, typically in the past, devices would, if there's a failure or a fault, there's been detection circuitry in the past, but when it detected that there's something went wrong, it would just fail in a safe way in some state mode. So for example, if you're driving down the road, autonomous vehicle or vehicle is driving down the road and something fails, it just stops, right? But you don't want to stop in the middle of the road. So this is fail operational. So there's a lot of extensive hardware in this device for that on top of the ASIL D that allows us to not only detect the fault, but understand where the fault is and to be able to react to the fault. And there's recovery logic in software on top that leverages it. So it's a really, I would say, a more holistic view of functional safety that goes beyond just fail safe, but fail operational. It's well supported with software. The process has been certified to ISO 26262, 2018 by TÜV Süd, so it's gone through some certification. So it's quite an extensive process. We also have all the safety documentation that we supply to our customers that allows them to do their ASIL D certification for their system solutions. So we spent a lot of effort. We have a whole program called Safe Assure, and the Safe Assure program does that, assures safety for our customers and their customers through all these mechanisms and deliverables that we provide.
Yeah, and obviously we focused a lot on automotive here for very good reasons, but are there any other applications that it's suitable for other than automotive?
That's a great question. This is an area we started to see also with the S32G too. So this just takes it to another level, I think, of higher performance and more applications. So we've seen, there's a lot of adjacent things to automotive and transportation, I would say. There's a lot of autonomous vehicles, so safety and gateway and processing, like we're talking about, fit in well there. You think about smart agriculture, these huge agricultural machines that are driving in the fields, smart mining equipment, even robots, last mile delivery, drones, railway. There's a lot of safety requirements in railway, especially we've seen a lot of these issues with railways lately. So safety is becoming even more important. So I say transportation's one big market. The other one's the industrial market. So we're very heavily in industrial with a lot of our other products, like the iDynamX RT series. But this gives another option into that with high performance. That is really good because of safety, first of all, but also with all the communication interfaces, Ethernet, that's all used in industrial also. So it's very good and we've seen it used in robotics applications, industrial gateways, industrial control. And there's some new applications I can't talk about yet that because this processor has the safety, it has that security. And the key thing about an automotive part is the reliability of it's very high. The longevity is very high. We guarantee 15 years longevity minimum, right? We still sell parts that are 20, 30 years old. So NXP is also about longevity. So that combination, performance, network, and safety, security, plus longevity is really attractive to industrial customers too.
And following on from that then, tell us a little bit about the ecosystem support offering that comes with this family.
Yeah, so it's not only a chip. I mean, we develop a lot of software on top with a product called Gold VIP, and what we've done is integrate partners into the story. So it's not just about NXP, it's about the partners. And if you go by our booth here, we have a partner and ecosystem wall. It's pretty amazing to show the breadth of offerings and what people are doing. Because today it's not just about silicon, it's about solutions. And so the ecosystem is very important. For S32G3 and G in general, we have a whole slide that shows all the icon or logos of many partners. Everything from training partners to board partners to OS and debug probes, hypervisors, applications and security, intrusion detection, the cloud, cloud service providers, all kinds of partners.
Yeah.
So to be successful with these types of parts, especially today, it's about solutions, not just here's a chip. So we provide the chip, a hardware reference design, software reference design, and this whole ecosystem that really complements it so our partners can move very fast. And we pre-integrate it. That's the idea of this Gold VIP, is we pre-integrate some of our strategic partners right into our product.
Yeah.
So some of these things could take a year to 2 years to actually optimize and put on the platform. We do that ahead of time. So now the OEM doesn't have to, or the tier one doesn't have to spend 6 months, a year, 2 years to optimize software on our platform. We've already done it with the partner. So it provides a lot of value to our customers.
Yeah. So to summarize then, what are the key messages of the S32G3 that listeners today should take away?
Yeah, so I've been talking about this all week to people, and the 4 things that I keep coming back to is, first of all, the applications that it's really, really good at, and bring that combination of really high performance processing, safety, security, networking, and that fits really well with that vehicle computer. So any type of compute application like that, but the vehicle computer for software-defined vehicles is, I think, the first application where it fits extremely well.
Yeah.
The second one is functional safety, where it can be all those resources could be leveraged to be a safety processor, monitoring and really making sure that decisions that are made by the big processor are correct. So if there's a fault in there, you want to be able to recover also from that and to make sure that everything's being done properly. So that's the other big application. The other 2 points that I like to make is that scalability. That's really, really important. So customers today that have S32G2s can scale up. They'll scale up to G3 and get a 2.6x performance increase, lots of memory increase. And then the fourth thing is this whole ecosystem, having all the software and hardware. OEMs will take our designs, and tier ones will take our designs because they're reference designs, and they will leverage that as a starting point. That's really important for fast time to market. And then leveraging that ecosystem, the large ecosystem. So a combination of those 4 bullets, I think, that I've been talking about are the key takeaways for this S32G3.
Yeah. And just to reiterate, the product's available to purchase now.
Yes, good question. So, we started sampling this in November of 21 to what we call alpha customers. So dozens of people. We have some very large customers around the world. They're global. This is what we announced on Tuesday, on March 14th, this is now open to the public. Excellent. So you can go to Digi-Key, start ordering these parts. You have access to this. Anyone has access. We have the boards called RDB3. We have the Gold Box 3, which is really nice. We see a lot of these gold boxes on the floors. A lot of partners are showing lots of really interesting demos on our platform with the Gold Box. But yes, they're available to customers through distribution now. And that's the big news this week.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing the news with us and for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Great questions. Thank you.
Thank you.